Guys, good morning. It is 6 a.m. on Friday, the 22nd of December 2023. I hope everybody is ready for the weekend and Christmas indeed as well, because that's right after the weekend, as I'm sure nobody has failed to notice. I am the CheapSkateStreamer. And broadcasting live this morning on Telegram at t.me/CheapSkateStreamer, as well as YouTube. And the YouTube is coming just in a second. There we go, youtube.com/@CheapSkateStreamer. And I need to emphasize the fact that without the @ you'll not find that channel. If it's YouTube you want to go to, it's youtube.com/@CheapSkateStreamer. And you can watch in either or both, just depending on whatever grabs you. Last broadcast for the week before Sunday evening, and indeed Sunday evening will be the last broadcasts before Christmas. So if I just put up the schedule for that and fade it across, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Let's just swap things around a little bit, something like that. Okay, so as you can see then, Sunday there's the usual broadcast at 9:30 in the evening, but no broadcast on Monday, no morning broadcast on Tuesday, Boxing Day, but things get back to normal again from 9:30 on Tuesday the 26th, and continue as normal thereafter. So I should probably also draw your attention to the link tree, because I use a range of social websites. The link tree is linktr.ee/CheapSkateStreamer, and it looks like that. If you go to the page, sorry guys, I've got an ear malfunction. Well, actually it's a Bluetooth a Bluetooth earbud malfunction. Right, I think I've got it sorted now. So yeah, the link tree, linktr.ee/CheapSkateStreamer. You can see links there to Telegram, Rumble, X, Kick, DLive, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and there's also an option to buy me a coffee, should you choose to do so. Pardon me, that would be very much appreciated. Let me just get a quick sip of the one I've got here. Right, perfect. Yesterday we ended the broadcast yesterday evening with a little meme, and this morning is going to be pretty light-hearted as well for the most part. So let's have this one. Imagine you were in a plane and you happen to look out the window and see somebody in free fall holding a sign saying, "I was your pilot." In fact, I'm actually just thinking about the physics of the whole thing here, and actually that would be pretty damn difficult to do, because if the plane is flying along level or near enough level, the pilot guy outside, the only way you're going to see him for anything more than a very fleeting millisecond is if he actually had his parachute deployed. And even then, you're not going to see him because the plane's going to be moving forward so quickly to be able to stay airborne that he's not going to be able to keep up, if you see what I mean. That's a pity. Sorry, guys. It was a good meme. What can I say? I just have a tendency to want to debunk things. Yeah, well, question everything. Anyway, right, moving on to this next one. So this one is kind of referring to shadow banning, I suppose. And as you can see here, it says, you could have friends pulling you up from the bottom of the feed. Hold on a second, let's get rid of a couple of things. Let's get rid of the Linktree link. And let's drop down the whatchamacallit. Let's drop that down. Right. Sorry, I didn't realise that's what you were looking at. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, this one here is quite good because you've got the notion that people can, help you to gain better visibility by sharing your posts or something like that. For example, on Facebook, and then it's got this idea that Zuckerberg would come along and just suppress you all over again. And then this next one, well, although it's a meme, it's a pretty serious message. Let's just do what they say. A group of, sheeple, for want of a better expression. They've all masked up, complying. 60 minutes later, they're all hanging by their hind legs, I presume, I'm not too sure. Having been skinned. Right, moving on, we've got a little clip here from Batman and Robin. This one has clearly been reworked over the years, probably many times. So Robin begins to say it's global warming. Batman near takes his head off and tells him it's summer. Now this next one I have actually posted on Facebook or something like that in the not too distant past. And I'm sure if you recognise this image on the left, you're of a particular vintage yourself. Basically, that is the test card girl, and yeah, the meme. I feel old now seeing these two grown up. So supposedly test card girl, aka Carrie. Well, now Carrie Johnson. I was going to say Carrie Simmons. I think I pay too much attention to politics, actually, given that I do remember her maiden name, or at least her name before she was married to Boris, and of course the clown-in-chief himself next to her there. Now this next little image I think is promoting a video game. It's I'm going to suggest the pronunciation's maybe Yolan Park, I'm not too sure. But down at the bottom here it says 6 days in Fallujah. And to be honest, no offense to anybody that lives there, but I had actually posted that with the comment, not as bad as a bank holiday weekend in Larne. If you know Larne, hopefully you'll understand that reference. Right, let's take that off. Okay, back to more serious things. Not often I side with the rich and powerful. I suppose you could possibly argue that Lady Michelle Mone is not particularly powerful, but on this occasion I have kind of taken her side a little bit, as against the government. So basically, to kind of to come back to the start of the story, so to speak, Lady Michelle Mone, also known as Baroness Mone, hit the headlines not so long ago because of basically what's been referred to as a PPE scandal. But we'll come to that. Essentially, she's accused of having secured government contract, or helped secure a government contract for her husband's company to provide PPE to the NHS, I presume. And she's accused of having made or having helped the company make £60 million profit. So I don't know all the ins and outs, but I find it kind of a bit like the pot calling the kettle black, that Rishi Sunak seems to be, or seems to have been, trying to throw her under the bus, when in fact there were many politicians who profited out of COVID to a much greater extent. Many of them perhaps more through stock market speculation, but I would argue it was actually insider trading, given the amount of control they had over government policy and what they knew the policy was or was going to be. And as I say, yet rather than go after those individuals, they would rather deflect attention away from them and put it onto a member of the House of Lords, who actually, I guess, I don't know, but I guess she has probably been a little bit of a thorn in the government's side, in terms of holding them to account, let's put it that way. I also suspect that there's a degree of misogyny. They don't like the idea that a relatively young, good-looking woman should have the option of a long career in the House of Lords, without them being able to do anything about it, and without them really having any ability to control or manipulate her, I suppose, other than obviously trying to make something out of this thing about PPE. So anyway, to come to the actual Twitter post itself, as you can see, Michelle says, a senior civil servant offered to make the NCA, so that'll be the National Crime Agency, investigation into us go away if we pay the government a sum of money. We have a recording of this on tape. Shall we name the senior civil servant involved? And DHSC is the Department of Health, and it must be social care, I presume, gov.uk. So, well, my answer was go for it. They seem to be trying to chuck you under the bus. Name and shame, you know. So on the same theme, I have come across a YouTube video which I will call up here. So the YouTube video, let me just pause that. Actually, I didn't realize it was actually going to be starting at that point.
Awarding of those contracts.
Our demand is...
The YouTube video is entitled "The Interview, Baroness Moan and the PPE Scandal," and it's by Mark Williams Thomas, who I think most people will probably recognise when you see who he is.
Whichever career you picture.
Right, I tell you what I'll do. Let's just have a watch at the first couple of minutes of this interview. I actually, just at the minute, I forget how long it is because the time is no longer displaying on the screen. Thank you, YouTube, for that advert. Yeah, so it's an hour and 11 minutes long if you want to watch the whole thing. I'm not sure just how much just how interesting this actually is, but what I can tell you is it's had over 50,000 views already, and one of the first things that appears in the description here is a correction saying Ayanda Capital won 2 masks contracts. It was the FFP2 masks, which are basically the blue surgical masks, not the Type 2R mask that they supplied, which were never used due to the failings of the DHSC procurement team to implement the NHS preferred specifications. So actually, let's just read the full description here because it's not that long. In January 2020, all of our lives changed forever. The first case of COVID-19 was declared in England, and the government took unprecedented steps to warn the public, mobilising a wide-ranging response, huge restrictions on the public, a vaccine, and a drive to secure PPE for hospital staff. Now in a TV first, multi-award winning investigative reporter Mark Williams Thomas has turned his attention on the government's response to the COVID pandemic and the role of MPs and peers, and in a particularly difficult investigation has it gained exclusive access to Baroness Michelle Moan and her husband Doug Barrowman. I'm just wondering, actually, did I present this before? Guys, if I did, I actually make no apology for presenting it again because I think it's very relevant. I think it is, quite frankly, pure deflection and distraction on the part of the government and particularly Rishi Sunak. And for that reason, I think really is worth shining a light on it and asking the question, where are they trying to deflect the light from? Where should we really be shining a light? But anyway, with that said, here we go, guys.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. I urge you, at this moment of national emergency, to stay at home, protect our NHS, and save lives.
So guys, we're right around now, just bearing in mind the fact that this is being broadcast to YouTube as well as Telegram. I'm sure YouTube will have identified the fact that this video is also from their channel, or from their library, maybe I should say. So I feel the need to jump in and just point out the fact that this is merely a commentary on the video that has been posted to YouTube. It is in the public domain, pardon me, and it's not that I'm presenting the whole video, I'm just presenting a couple of minutes in order to be able to comment on it. Let's continue.
I think the lies that were coming out from the very top are totally unforgivable.
I've been told by a source that there is another, more confidential VIP lane and 16 contracts that the government haven't released information on because they're deemed commercially sensitive.
Now, for the first time in 2 years, Baroness Moan breaks her silence to respond to the criminal allegations she faces. And my investigation reveals an allegation a government official saying he can make a civil and criminal case go away for a sum of money.
It was purely just whether there's a bigger pot, if you like, that is there to satisfy both elements.
In January 2020, all of our lives change forever.
I'm speaking to you at what I know is an increasingly challenging time. A time of disruption in the life of our country. A disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all.
The first case of COVID-19 was declared in England.
Guys, I'm just thinking back to that tweet that I presented a while back there. Do you remember the tweet where Michelle Moan talked about having it on tape, where someone suggested that if they were able to pay the government a sum of money, the NCA investigation could be made go away? I think that's actually what we're after hearing just a few seconds ago there, where the guy talked about a bigger pot that would satisfy both elements. As you might say, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. But clearly, in the context of that tweet, that does appear to make some sense. I think this video is going to be absolutely well worth your time to watch, and I'm going to present a little bit more of it here, maybe another couple of minutes, and we'll see what direction this goes in.
England.
A virus spreading, planes grounded, trade stalling, and even sporting events cancelled.
Coronavirus has reached the UK. 2 patients from the same family in England tested positive on Friday. They are the first such cases in Britain.
The government took unprecedented steps to warn the public.
The number of COVID patients is definitely going up. It's heartbreaking.
When you have to tell somebody that you think this is the start of their lungs failing and that they're not going to get better, that is really, really heartbreaking.
Over the following months, the UK government mobilised a wide-ranging response. Huge restrictions on the public, a vaccine, and a drive to secure PPE for hospital staff. I'm Mark Williams-Thomas, a former British detective turned journalist with over 30 years' experience investigating some of the biggest cases in the UK and worldwide, like my world-exclusive interview with Paralympian Oscar Pistorius.
They try and say that I broke down a door with a cricket bat. I can't even hold a cricket bat up if I don't have my arms to balance.
Now in my latest investigation, I have turned my attention on the government's response to the COVID pandemic, and in particular, the role of MPs and peers, and in a difficult investigation, gained exclusive access to Baroness Moan.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do this.
We can.
No, thank you.
Baroness Moan has become the poster girl for the PPE scandal as a result of her referring her husband, Doug Barrowman's consortium, PPE MedPro, to the government. She is now under a criminal investigation. But before I carefully examine her case and put to her the allegations she faces, I want to consider a number of the other MPs and peers who were involved in referring friends or associates to a designated high-priority VIP lane. I have identified 10 Conservative MPs and peers who referred companies to a VIP lane, which then won PPE contracts to a value of 1.6 billion.
One of the questions I want to answer is, did any MP or peer benefit as a result of very large contracts being awarded to companies they referred to the government's high priority or VIP lane? Was there any corruption or wrongdoing in the awarding of those contracts?
Our demand is clear. End the cover-up and begin the clean-up. We already know that the so-called VIP lane for PPE enabled the shameful waste of taxpayers' money and inexcusable profiteering by unfit and unqualified providers.
At the start of the pandemic, the government had run out of PPE supplies, so a call to action went out and they were inundated with responses. Some 14,000 new offers to supply PPE equipment, so the Department of Health and Social Care, more commonly known as a DHSC, whose responsibility it was to source PPE for the NHS and other public bodies, created 2 lanes so as to triage the 14,000 new offers. One was a general lane for members of the public, the other became known as a VIP high priority lane created to allow referrals from MPs, ministers and senior officials. There was also a third lane.
Okay, just taking note of these different routes for, as Mark put it there, triaging these different offers to supply equipment. You can kind of actually see where this seemed to be necessary, because if you've got 14,000 offers, how do you sift through that in a quick and effective way? And obviously there's the general lane they talk about there, which may be of value. But the VIP high priority lane, basically a route whereby members of either house could, as they put it, basically make referral to particular suppliers, and you have to say, well, based on those members' knowledge of the companies and the capability of those companies to meet the need and to provide equipment of a suitable standard, and I suppose that's where the value, theoretically at least, of the members of the House of Commons or the House of Lords, that's where the value of their knowledge comes in, is that if they recognise that somebody, a particular company, has particular competency in the area, then they can put them forward. And as we see there, the mention of previously approved suppliers actually appears to be the preferred route, and that makes sense, because obviously if you have used a supplier previously and their work has been satisfactory at least, then you would return back to them to continue to supply your needs. So that's just my comment on those. But guys, for now, that is actually going to conclude the broadcast for this morning. As I say, that is the last broadcast for the week before Sunday evening. So Sunday evening will be the next one. And that's at 9:30 p.m. Beginning on Telegram at t.me/CheapSkateStreamer. Let me just swap another couple of things around here. Yes, so Sunday 9:30, t.me/CheapSkateStreamer if you are free. Please join me then. That will be the absolute last broadcast before Christmas. And I would encourage everybody in the meantime to get yourselves onto YouTube, watch that interview with Baroness Moan, and see what is said about the PPE scandal. See if you can figure out if she was actually a attempted victim of blackmail from the evidence presented in that recorded, I take it that was a phone call, and I have to say hats off to Michelle Moan for having the presence of mind to record that call. Quite frankly, I think if you are in a position like she is, if you have a public profile, I think it is well advised. You are well advised to record all your calls in the event that something like this comes up, and you might need or want to refer back to it at some point in future. Guys, if you have been watching this morning, thank you for your attention. And as I say, I'll see you on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Have a great Friday and a good weekend.